So one of my big takeaways from this week, I'd say, is definitely just how this science of reading connects to all the different pedagogies that we've learned over the years. As a math guy, sometimes I think, okay, how does literacy intersect with all the math I've learned over the years and how to teach that? But really, it's just quite simple. Even in math, we have word recognition. If there's a vocab word that a student doesn't understand, then we need to be able to teach how to read in that area. And just learn about the science of reading and how there's so much research behind it, first off. Whereas when I first heard it, I thought it was just a simple theory, but truly it's years of research. Um, and that's how one of those strands in that rope is that word recognition. How we can use that with other subjects, content-based subjects, to just help improve students' literacy overall, whether it's special ed or non-special ed. Um, so that was definitely one of my big takeaways for the week, and just the one that stuck with me the most from that strand is definitely word recognition, I think, and how the recognition of vocab and how we can help that, and if a student doesn't recognize it, how do we help them improve in that area? I'd say one thing, a question going forward, would definitely be how we can definitely improve upon just letting people know in this field that the science of reading is a cross sectionality based uh, idea. It's not saying that's just exclusive to reading, which I thought it was at first. So how do we spread that message more? Because I've learned about different pedagogies for years, but it still felt like this was new to me, which is something that was kind of surprising. So how can we spread that to others in the field so it's more easily acceptable as an idea that this is something that all teachers can use, that science teachers can, reading teachers, that math teachers, that history teachers, and so on and so on. So that was another big question I have, is how can we further spread that idea to get people to access to it? I think just one thing, to just make it more foundational. When we're teaching pedagogy to aspiring teachers, let us just give out of the gate that these ideas of explicit instruction are not just one subject based. We can use explicit instruction in math and in reading, and we can learn from each other, and then we should use that collaboration to help better teachers, back and forth. I have a lot of friends in the English field, for example, that we would talk to each other all the time about how to better our lessons. And we can do that in special ed as well. Let's take reading comprehension, for example, and ask an English teacher, if you need to, hey, this science of reading, help me out here and explain to me how we can use it in this math-based setting. Oh, explicit instruction? Oh, I know explicit instruction. Okay, let's work together. Let's spread those ideas around how we can make a balanced lesson that way, a structured lesson. That was another thing I really liked too, was the use of the word structured throughout those. I think it was brief one that we used that for. I just really like that. I really always have fond of scaffolded teaching, and knowing that, okay, we need to first introduce an idea by clearly defining it, and we need to show the example first. Students, I don't want to say they don't know anything, but we need to give them that foundation first that they can build upon. Because if they start making up their own ideas that are incorrect, not that always an idea is incorrect, but but we don't want to lead them astray. We don't want to give them a bad foundation, especially in reading, where if you get signs sometimes that you get stuck on, sometimes it's hard to get unstuck from that. So yes, those are a few of my key takeaways. Just definitely the vocab with the word recognition that really stuck out to me as a math guy who is trying to understand literacy in the context of how we can decode literacy as less taboo and one-subjected, and make it more accessible to use explicit instruction in all areas. So yeah,